Welcome to Speak of the Devil. My name is Reverend Campbell, and we have got a hell of a show for you this week. We're talking the devil's in the details. That's right, this is a brand new little concept shop of a show that's focusing on the devil as an antagonist or protagonist in different medium. And today we're talking specifically horror films. And you can argue, and we're going to argue, that this is probably the best place the devil has been properly represented in all of our current culture's media. So, for all of you joining us live, thank you so much. I'm going to call you out here in just a second, but first, let me bring on my brother from another mother, Satanist. Wes Vanderpool is joining me tonight. How are you, my friend?
Excellent. How are you this fine evening? Excellent.
Yes, I'm doing great. We had a pretty good pre-show conversation. Lots of weird stuff happening over there. You've got toilets flushing, you got lights flashing on and off, you've got baby dolls freaking me out. This is
all
a night.
the horror. This is how it happens.
All of the horror is in here. What is? Ugh, you need to put it back in your womb.
Go back. Go over here. Go back.
Like stuff it down. Get in there.
Oh God.
First of all, let me give it a quick shout out to the people in the chat room. Ara, my dear, how are you? It's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Britt Chittick, thank you so much for joining us. First time I think that I've seen you in the live chat, and I apologize if it's not. Valeria, how are you, my dear? Master Tora, Lauren, you fucking traitor. You got to go to your profession. That's fine. Whatever. I guess real life is important for some people. John Dew, good to see you. Stephanie, how's it going? I saw your whole family, but you. Kind of weird you didn't want to say hi on camera. Kind of insulted, but okay. Whatever. You know the Vanderpools. You know the Colorado Vanderpools with their fucking yachts and their fucking maids and butlers. They don't want to come down to the little people like me.
Oh no. She's busy in the tower. I mean, she gave birth. She brought down the child. Then she's
and that was just at 7 this morning.
Yeah.
Here's another child for you, sir.
There you go. Tally-ho.
And then she like goes and plays rugby or something. Tally-ho. And she goes hunts a fox. As the Vanderpools do. That's how you roll. You wouldn't be the Vanderpools.
You got to do it.
All right, Dalton, great to see you. Ricky, my man, it's been a little bit. Hassan, how's it going, man? Lolly, how are you, my dear? Andre, Shine, how's it going? And for anyone else joining after the fact, thank you guys so much for joining us live. We're talking, again, the devil. We're talking horror films. So we're going to be covering some of your favorite movies, some movies maybe you haven't seen, some movies you really should see. And we're just going to sort of riff. We're going to have fun with this. This is not like a study type show. This is for fun, entertainment, discussion. And that's why there can be no better person than you, Wes, because we just have such a great back and forth,
That's right.
It's unfortunate we're not being able to sit next to each other because my hand has nowhere to rest without your thigh.
And this really disappoints me. I mean, it's been so cold. So cold. So
all right, so okay, so you've been here before, Brett. Okay, I apologize for that. Thank you so much for joining us live. This is going to be great. We've got a bunch of different. It's actually more than 10 movies, but I'm chopping like one of the movies into a franchise because it kind of is a franchise. And to be fair, there's a number of movies we're going to be speaking to that could be considered franchises. And that maybe in their own right, they really are. But we're going to be speaking to them individually. There's only one of them we're going to be speaking in the context of a franchise because it's varied. And we'll get into it once we start talking about it properly here. David, thank you so much for joining us, man.
And it's about to be a franchise if it's not already, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
This will make it a franchise.
This show
alone.
That all 5 of you watching are you're gonna catapult it. Let me quickly say that all of these shows are brought to you by the patrons of Speak of the Devil, and specifically the benefactor patrons, Arn and DA. Thank you both so much for your support, for your counseling, and for your advice on how to move this show and this brand forward. I do truly appreciate it. But we do have brand new Admirator. We do have new Accusatorum patrons. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to be doing everything I can. It's going to be a year in April that I've been doing Patreon. I don't know if that's the proper, that I've been doing it, but
Oh, you've been doing it. So good.
with the camera off, I've been doing Patreon.
This
And
is your
I-
hobby now. Sorry.
I'm lagging with my audio video. Let me know if my audio is behind my video or ahead of it, and I will try to correct it on the fly here. I know, Wes, for you it's going to be off, but for everyone watching, ideally it's on. So let me know, is my audio ahead of my video or behind it? Okay, so that being said, let's do this. Let's dive in with our first movie that we're going to be talking about. And we're going to sort of reveal these through the movie trailers. And then we're going to have a conversation about it. Oh, Cindy, I would never forget you, my dear. How's it going? You need to shake loose that husband of yours, David. I'm just kidding. Totally just kidding. Thank you so much for joining us, my dear. If you're not watching the chat room, that would make no sense. For those of you who are watching, perhaps it will. Okay, so the first movie we're going to be talking about today, we're going to watch the trailer for each of these, and then we're going to talk about them. Here we go. That is not the movie that we're... This is... I don't know why that...
See, the devil's already taken over.
Yeah, dude, it's totally lifetime. So we're going to be talking about this because the audio is subdued. But of course, the audio seems behind the video. Thank you guys for letting me know. I will try to fix that as we're watching this kick-ass trailer.
He will enter a place of wealth and ambition.
We've got 40 partners vested at the moment. In addition to our corporate clients, we're currently representing about 25
Just adjusted
foreign
it,
countries.
so let me know if it's
You've got
still
your
behind
schedule
or
for
not.
15 minutes, so make the most of it.
I love this film.
Kevin Lomax.
Oh, it's so great.
What's that like? One day you're putting them away.
It's rough because we've seen
getting used to.
we've seen these actors in so many different types of roles before.
Yeah.
Like having him in this specific role kind of blew my mind a little bit. I mean, Keanu Reeves, up until now, I've always seen as like,
Make your dreams come true.
that's kind of been who he was. And Pacino's always been like a hoo-ah type kind of guy anyway. So he just sort of suited himself. Charlize Theron, oh my gosh, so gorgeous in this film.
Yes. No,
Who's your greatest fear?
he is the devil personified, I think. I mean, Pacino always looks so smooth and
And he knows the price
amazing.
of your soul.
Well, and even the way they presented him in this film, you know, it's very much pulling cues from Milton's Paradise Lost. I mean, they even pulled his name from that. And the premise here is that Keanu Reeves' character is an incredibly successful lawyer who gets called to a New York firm to help with a singular client, and then gets sort of, you know, invited into the firm itself. The truth is while he was in Florida before he was brought into New York, he was sort of raised by a single mother, and they never, you know, knew anything about his real father. The truth is, he is the Pacino's son. Pacino is literally the devil, as is unraveled throughout the course of this show. And I gotta pause this really quick and making sure we're not losing our place here. And he begins to have certain, you know, questioning his own sense of morals and ethics as he's working with this law firm and enjoying the perks and lifestyle changes that, you know, New York brings and working with the devil brings. So because this is all centered around the idea of the devil, do you think that this film portrayed the devil in a positive way, meaning, you know, from our perception, in a good way, not in the terms of the film narrative itself?
I think so. I mean, he's very smooth. He's very aware of himself. And, you know, my favorite part of the movie, one of my favorite lines is when he's talking to him on the streets and he tells him, "They never see me coming." I mean, it's magnificent. And that is something I think all Satanists kind of rally around is people never see you coming until you're ready for them to.
It's Lesser Magic 101.
Exactly.
He's so good. He's short. He's sort of goofy looking on the subway when they take that subway ride during that speech.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest moment. Dalton is saying in the chat room, that movie is one of the best speeches about God and religion. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think pretty much any Satanist is going to look on this with positive eyes. I can't think of a movie that portrays the devil in a better light.
No, not at all. I mean,
of course,
he's very successful and just everything Keanu Reeves' character has to do. You know, it's the choices. Do you look out for? Are you looking out for you? Are you being number one?
yeah. It always does make me wonder, because we connect with the character of the devil because, of course, we're Satanists, and so we just sort of dig that idea. Do other people watching this type of a film see him as like the bad guy? It's weird because there's a lot of like misogynist, machismo behavior going on in this film that in our current political climate, I don't know if would be appreciated as much as it was by the audience in the time that it was released. So I don't know if those messages carry over quite as well, but there is an authority that the devil commands throughout this entire show that we've never really seen in this way before. It's always been like this, this ooky, torturous, scary, punishing type figure, or the tricking type figure. And in this particular case, it's just someone saying, look, I'm going to offer you the world. It's up to you to take it or not.
Exactly.
Like, I don't, who would say no?
I couldn't, but I mean, I'm sure somewhere out there, somebody who wants to appear to be doing the right thing would say, no, I would never do that. Mm-hmm. This is too much, and he's too wrong. But there's not anybody out there, I don't think, that could look at his life being extremely successful, having everything you could ever want at the drop of a hat, being able to take care of your family, and however that is.
Yeah, you can argue, was he really taking care of his family?
Well,
like, he gave them the money and the house and the apartment, and
he took care of what mattered to him.
Right. Yeah. It is weird because your priorities do definitely change, and there's that saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if you did find out that you were like the Antichrist, the devil's son, and he was giving you the reins of the earth, essentially, do whatever you want as long as you perform. What would you not? What wouldn't you change about yourself? How would your behaviors, your morals, your ethics ultimately completely shift from where they were before? And how could they not shift?
Exactly. Power, you see that today in all walks of life, of business or anywhere else. People who don't have power and then suddenly even get just a tiny bit of power, it goes to their head. They completely change who they are. Mm-hmm. And I think anybody would. You get that, and you would decide day to day, are you going to be a merciful God? Are you going to do as you wilt, and everyone that gets in your way loses all? Which, so be it.
Ricky is saying that others see him as vile. Master Torah is saying Witches of Eastwick, Jack Nicholson. See, and I had that on my list, Witches of Eastwick, but it does not, like, we have some films that are speaking to the devil in different ways and how they interact with the storyline and narrative of the story in different ways, presenting sort of different sides of what the devil could be seen as. And The Witches of Eastwick is more of a story, in my opinion, about the success of a satanic witch than it is about the success or failure of a devil, because ultimately those three witches completely dominate that devilish figure that they conjure in Jack Nicholson. And so it's just a different type of a story, and so that's why I didn't include it. But good observation there. Zachary, you will not be disappointed. Okay, so Devil's Advocate, I think it's a net positive for clearly both of us, but ultimately every Satanist. It's talking about lesser magic. It's talking about real world success and empowerment. And it's also addressing some of the more challenging ideas that I already sort of spoke to, in how your priorities change when you're chasing after your true desires, and whether and that sort of question you have to ask yourself. And I think we all collectively, to be clear, individually, we must all face this at some point. Does my success outweigh my personal recreation and appreciation of those in whom I love? Because ultimately, if you really do want to be successful in life, more often than not, you have to spend your life devoted to chasing that success and not enjoying the fruits of that success as much. And so I work around far too many extremely wealthy individuals who do nothing but work and can't really enjoy their time and the fruits of their labor as much as, in contrast me, who I feel like I have success, but I temper that by saying I'm not willing to work those extra hours or to work with that extra client no matter the money, because that means that I wouldn't be able to have the family time that I cherish. And so my what I put importance on is tempered by my desire to, raise up in the corporate ladder, as it were. Do you find yourself ever with those, personal questions?
All the time. My job.
Well, the porn industry does demand that.
It is quite demanding, and there's only so much I can do.
The Vanderpool estate wasn't built on anything less.
No, it wasn't built on nothing but perfection. But actually, in my job, I do on call quite a bit. At least every other month or so, I'm on call 24 hours a day. In that, I mean, we still try to get out and do stuff, but if I do get called, I have to drop what I'm doing and come back, and it really pays off, the dedication to the work. But it's about finding that balance of life, and so we really try, as hard as we work in our family estate here. We also like to play equally as hard and go out and enjoy the sun, or lately it's just been enjoying the snow, but getting out and enjoying everything, or staying in and enjoying everything. I mean, that's party
Another condom, Jeeves.
Jeeves, sir.
I'm not going to put it on myself. Come on, man.
What do you expect?
What's the point in having servants if you're not going to serve?
I shall not soil my hands.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So let's see what the next one that I already spoiled, which is kind of showing right there. The hashtag at the bottom. Why isn't this showing? Come on now. All right, here we go.
Right, it's 9:18. We're headed down into the cellar where the doors just opened up.
There are so many things about this franchise that I love, and this is the universe that I was talking about, the shared horror universe that James Wan has created with The Conjuring at its core. It played upon the success of the Amityville horror, certainly with the Warrens, as you see on the screen here, but it also plays into what is so fascinating about Americana horror, and that is the haunted house trope. It is so goddamn good. Like, watching this the first time, I was genuinely scared, and there are a few movies that I get like really scared, like Ju-On, the Japanese version of The Grudge. That scared me.
That was scary.
It really scared me. The Ring kind of freaked me out, but it wasn't the same.
No.
There's moments in this. Dude, you lock me in a like a dirty floor basement, and you show like crazy light and stuff. Oh, I lose my mind.
Yes. Reminds me of my basement, actually.
So, if you've seen this show, or if you haven't seen the show, you may not find the connection with the devil. But the truth is, the witch Bathsheba sacrificed her infant to the devil in order to get her powers of eternal life and to curse the land for anyone who would try to take it. And so the premise of this is very much Amityville Horror. Like, there's an ancient evil that the witch Bathsheba cursed this area on, and this house specifically. And so this new family moves in, gets a great price for the house, just like the Amityville Horror. And then strange things start happening. They reach out to some demonologists, the Warrens. They investigate, find out that it is in fact a corrupted home, and they get priests in. They try to bless it and get rid of the curse. So, that's the premise of The Conjuring, which, again, is just so good. So, that being said, I'm trying to move over to this other one here. Let's see.
Ooh, yeah.
The idea of the devil in this is something where and we see this in like The Tale of Robert Johnson, the blues musician, where
Right.
it's I sacrifice myself for these additional powers, and we're going to run through this. It's a regular theme you find when the devil is involved. He holds particular authority over mankind, and he will grant you if you just give him something in return. Very Faustian, just like the Devil's Advocate is a parallel to Faust. This, in the background premise, is the same way with Bathsheba, the witch. So, how did you feel about that storyline being tied to the devil in such sort of a vile, corruptive way? Because it's an interesting contrast to the Devil's Advocate, where the devil is very much this attractive figure that gives you real life, opportunity and advancement and perks, really. And then in this case, it's just kind of rotten death and vengeance. Like, what do you think about that contrast?
Well, I love the contrast between the two films, but with this one particularly, the devil is such a great bad guy. I mean, just the idea, especially in the Christian world, which that it is brought up so much in this film. I mean, it's such the ultimate bad guy, and it just scares the crap out of everybody. And it's, and of course, you don't have the devil directly. You have the witch. Right. So it just makes you wonder, how could these people handle the devil? I mean, he would just sweep them off their feet. I mean, it's just too. But it truly is the ultimate bad guy in this movie. I mean, and I love the style of the movie, the way they captured that 1970s grainy film feel of it. It's so amazing.
Yeah. I love that part of it too, like that sort of 70s vibe. Yeah. Which is why I loved the original American oh my gosh, why am I Amityville Horror so much?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there's something about 70s horror that it's sort of trailblazing for modern sensibility, bringing in some tropes that we carry through to this day. It started the slasher genre. Like, there's so much greatness in that era, and there's also an innocence in it, because again, the 70s were when you really had the conservative Christian right come into power politically in the United States, and you started getting these religiously political motivations spread all throughout our country, which we didn't, and it's hard to look past history, but we did not have in the same way before. It wasn't until after the 70s that we really started suffering under the pressure of the conservative Christians politically. Devil's Candy is a great one, Ricky. If you guys haven't seen Devil's Candy, you've got to see it. It's really, really good. Definitely. Okay, so what I love about Bathsheba and her pact with the devil is that on the surface is this hollow, sort of ridiculous, like, of course, she's a witch. She's going to, in order to get any semblance of power, she has to kiss the ass of the devil. This is puritanical Americana 101. This is, what I love so much. And we're going to touch on another movie that goes back to puritanical era too. Teaser. But I love the trope so much. It does ring a little bit hollow nowadays, I think.
Definitely.
I think what propelled this particular film and really this franchise is it doesn't focus on one particular bad guy. It has a collection of bad guys, but behind them, whether you like the individual one, whether it's Bathsheba or some of the others we're about to talk about, there is a larger evil presence that dominates, and that is hell or the devil or demons or evil personified itself. And you can argue that that literally is the devil in our modern sensibility. And I like the idea that no matter how much we feel like we have dominion over this earth, and again, I've been on record saying my favorite mythology is Christian. I love the idea of a Satan having a war with the creator, taking a third of his host and being cast out and claiming the earth for his own. I love that idea because we are all of the earth. Hence, we are all of the rebel host. We are all of Satan. I love that idea so much aesthetically. And these ideas of selling your soul to the devil in order to get power, or aligning yourself with the demons of the pit in order to gain power, is literally how I saw Satanism early on. And still, to be fair, how I perceive it to this day in a way, in a very ritualistic, suspend disbelief sort of way. Because I did embrace these princes of hell as brothers. I did surrender myself as a friend surrenders himself in trust in a comrade. And you have, friends like you, Wes, who, you would go out and have a drink with, and, if a fight started up, you knew you would have each other's back, and, you would keep secrets if you needed to about certain dolls that scare the shit out of you that you don't want people to know about because you'd look like a pussy if people found out about it. But, certain, hypothetical in the doll situation. But, you find a brotherhood with this idea of the Satan, and that is literally what these witches did back in the day. They found empowerment in the idea of Satan. They found power in using his name and using those tricks that even if they were all, clearly they were, but when they were all manufactured and just used out of Christian hype, the idea itself gives power to the user of it, the wielder of that. I don't know. There's something about it that really attracts me to it, even though it's not as on the nose as Devil's Advocate,
Definitely. I mean, it's you still do in the current political climate, which not to go into that, but you definitely get a feel of the conservative Christian trying to go for a power hold in our country and to take things back to how they were in the era of movies like this and the Amityville Horror. And really, I remember growing up with the original Amityville Horror and just thinking, being told how it was a true story and you better be good. You better say your prayers and do all this stuff.
Warren, they pulled a fast one. They convinced a lot of people.
They did, and there were so many people who bought into this, and I think who still are in that superstitious vein and still buy into it. And they see movies like this, and it truly freaks them out to their core because they have no control. There's no good guy. Mm-hmm. There might be something in the closet that's going to come out and rip your head off.
Yeah.
And, it's more likely a doll than anything.
Just a stupid battery-powered doll, not a demon-possessed creature of the night. You bring up an interesting point because we can look upon these films and find empowerment or entertaining interest. Some people look upon these... My dogs are fighting outside the door. They may bust in. Some people look upon these and find pure helplessness because they do genuinely see it as there's nothing you can do if the devil comes calling and he wants to torment you. There's nothing you can do. And I would say, in the way I have dealt with it in the past and the way I see it now, that's not true at all. If the devil comes calling, invite him in, show him the respect he deserves, but demand that he respects your fucking lair because this is your territory.
Exactly.
And we all know the fucking rules of the earth, man. There's no reason why you can't play on your primal fears, superstitions, ridiculous, fanciful flights of reality with the same firm grounding that we have as Satanists. Use the exact same principles, and it will serve you in the exact same way. And I've done it over and over again throughout the years. So I don't know. I love it so much. I don't want to get bogged down in this particular movie because we do have a whole universe to cover. So let's talk about the second one really quick here. And of course, some of you have already guessed this, but there's a reason why I did not include the first release of this movie, and it's Annabelle Creation that I chose because the first Annabelle film sucked ass. Annabelle Creation is literally one of the scariest modern horror movies I could ever watch. I watched this the other day again after I had already watched it a number of times with my wife, and I was scared. This movie scares me. There's something about the innocence of a child and the presence of a demonic fucking powerhouse.
Oh my God. Children are so scary.
Have you seen this film?
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list within the next few days.
It is so terrifying.
My kids also really love to be scared, even though, you know, they watch scary movies or, you know, like Ghost Adventures or whatever, and they'll get freaked out and scared, and then they'll, you know, we'll try to turn it off, and they're like, no, please, we really like it. We want to watch it. And then every now and then they like to walk towards Stephanie saying, Mama, Mama, you know, with this really blank, vague expression.
It's so creepy.
Oh my goodness, it is the creepiest thing in the world. And just in case they're watching, hi Daisy, hi Ruby. But yes, throw a shout out to the girls. But they absolutely, children are the creepiest thing ever. And then I think, you know, this goes back to people's superstitions. I think in every small town, at least in the South, there was an old abandoned house, and supposedly in this old abandoned house there was a doll that was possessed or haunted. And I know in the town I grew up in Kentucky, there was this giant house, and it was old and creepy, and my mom would always tell me how she snuck in as a teenager and saw a doll, and the doll's head turned and followed her everywhere she walked. And
that is very much this film. Oh, it's so scary. So what I love about the Conjuring universe is that it doesn't just play to the singular, and I spoke to this just a second ago, creature or antagonist of the film. They're all interconnected. So in Annabelle Creations, it's bringing references to the nun. In The Conjuring, it's bringing references to the nun with Valak and Annabelle as the previous Warren's case that they had dealt with. It has done such a wonderful job. Here we go. Of setting up this universe of demonically inspired films that genuinely have great jump scares, but also are so different in their approach that you don't feel like it's just one singular genre. You know, it could be a period piece horror, or it could be a 70s modern, you know, sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror thing. Why isn't this pausing? Or it could be a modern, you know, take on those demonic elements. But I love the idea of this demonic presence that was okay. So the premise of Annabelle Creation and the way Annabelle was created here is this family, a doll maker family. The father made dolls and sold them and stuff. Their daughter, who was sort of, you know, of course, it's your daughter's your love of your life. She ended up being killed by a vehicle, and the parents were so distraught that they spent weeks praying to anything that would answer them, saying, please, if you just bring me back my daughter, we will do anything you want. We just miss her that much. We are willing to give anything. And of course, as with every horror movie, a demonic presence answered, and it was this Annabelle demon that responded, and I haven't been able to find any like specific name for this demon other than Annabelle, but it took the presence of this doll and sort of this avatar of the parent's child and tormented this group of girls. So after a few years, the parents locked this doll in a closet with the walls lined in Bible passages because they realized it was in fact a demonic presence that attacked the mother and took her eye out and scarred her face. They brought in, of course, why wouldn't you, a nun and some orphans in order to stay in this,
Of course.
potentially demon-infested home because they're good Christians. And that's what good Christians do.
That's right.
And then horror ensues. I'm telling you, this is a terrifying fucking movie. If you haven't seen it, it is so goddamn scary. It should not be as scary as it really is, but it is really that scary. There's some stupid stuff in it, but you suspend disbelief as you do with all horror movies. The reason why I wanted to include this and the next movie that we're about to include is because, of course, there's religious references, which pays into the whole, religious Satan aspect, but also that greater evil behind everything, which is tied directly into the idea of Satan. And so in this particular case, we're going to be talking, in the next one, we're going to be talking about demons specifically. And so for the context of the conversation, we're going to connect Satan and demon, devils and demons in the same thing. They're all agents of hell after all. So
have you ever noticed the common theme in all these movies is something tragic happens and people pray, and it's always the demons that are there to help out. I think they're getting a bad rap here. They're just trying to help. They're just trying to help, and people are scared.
You wanted something? I brought you something? I got to kill a few people, but hey, I'm doing you a favor here.
Yeah, and they had it coming anyway. So it's like,
That's fucked up. I do like that idea because look, you want something? I want something. Let's scratch each other's back here. Quid pro quo. That's how it works, right? Like
that's right.
Everyone's upset when they get what they want, and then suddenly you're like, hey, but no, I need a soul. So,
that's how it works at Castle Vanderpool. It is always very, very
Vanderpool
nice.
estate demands your soul. I like that idea, though. I like the idea that you're somehow surprised that what you summon demands something in return for what they're giving you, And in this particular case, I think it's a little bit more insidious than like, hey, I just want to, be around in this realm and take souls. I mean, they really just they're demons. They want to cause chaos. But I like that idea that, look, you're going to summon me. I'm going to demand something in tax here. So pay the piper here, people.
That's right.
Do you think in the context of Satanism, and specifically, and again, yes, we are mixing allegories with reality. We are mixing mythology with reality here. But is there anything you've had to sacrifice as a Satanist in order to continue, and this is a real question, continue admitting who you are and living life as you see fit? Like what sacrifices were you had to provide?
Well, there's always the social aspect of being a Satanist that you maybe you don't get invited to everybody's party, or not everybody wants to be in the same room with you because they're afraid you're going to sacrifice them next. And which is funny because like you're worth my time, but Castle Vanderpool has much more important things. But in reality, it's the stigma that the rest of society holds against the dreaded S word. Mm-hmm. They see that and automatically they think the very worst things possible. And surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, most people aren't interested in learning about what is really going on. They're fine with their preconceived notions. They can now put your face to the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And, if you work with people who do things like that, then that can be very tough and uncomfortable to them, mind you, right. To them, because as Satanists, we really don't care. I mean, as long as they're not affecting.
I find myself in a position where, because if I need something from them, or
Sure,
for some
sure.
reason I want them to see me, through lesser magic in a certain way, I
Right.
do feel kind of like, ooh, I got to hide this from that person. Or if it comes up, I got to soften the blow a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's kind of like this. It's not really like that. Or, like I do find myself, it sounds strange saying it, and I'm sure other people have been in this position as well, where you almost have to apologize for being
In
who you are. And it's
in a way.
and it's a form of lesser magic that sometimes you just have to employ. Like, oh, well, yes, this is who I am, but,
Yeah.
and I've never actually gotten to a
Exactly.
point where I've had to be like, no, that is not, no, I don't know where that came from. I don't, this is not my signal of Baphomet. Someone put it around my neck at lunch. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but I have found myself like, doing a little like soft shoe in the
Yeah.
explanation department.
Exactly. I've had close friends of ours that we have dinner with quite often. Actually, a couple weeks ago, had asked me who you were, and had seen posts, I think, in social media that maybe I had liked or whatever.
Oh, right.
And
Who is this reverend you're liking?
what is he a reverend of? And
You're a Protestant?
yeah, he's a guy. He's you know. But it turns out that the way they asked, I was a little suspicious that, oh boy, this is going to be a fun, interesting evening. But it turns out that one of your guests was close friends with my friend in college.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, and I'm really drawing a blank on
What a
the
small world.
name. But yeah, they went to school together in Boulder, Colorado, and
Wow.
yeah, and so after that, it was like a great conversation, and we could talk about it openly. But I was a little concerned. I was going to have to be like, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah, he's a loser. I just like his stuff.
He's pretty. I like talking to him. He's pretty.
All right, here's the next one. I love this
Make
one
sure.
so much. Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen this one yet.
Oh,
either.
dude.
When I was younger.
Oh my
on!
goodness, it's so good.
And after each one ended, the same thought would be stuck
I
in
know.
my head.
I thought it was a little much for the kids to bring them in.
It's totally way too much for the kids.
I saw a nun.
I have a thing for nuns, though, so this is like a no-brainer for me. I have such a thing for
Word
nuns.
of my
Oh,
visions reached the church.
fucking
I was
thank
asked to
you,
accompany
Psycho
a
3,
priest
I
to an
think,
abbey in Romania.
for doing
I-
it to me. But
I love the castle, and it looks a lot like where I am now. So I mean, that's amazing. They're outside my house.
this is in your catacombs. This is such a good film. It got such a bad. It made tons of money, like as much as the other movies that we've shown so far. Wild success in the box office, but it got like deadpanned in reviews, and so I didn't see it for a very long time. And then Cameron just drugged me to it, and I absolutely loved it. Like the jump scares are expected and everything, but I love the idea of medieval stupidity summoning a like demonic presence because they can, and then the Knights of Columbus coming in, the Knights Templar coming in and trying to contain it, and you just need the blood of Christ in like Holy Grail Indiana Jones fashion in order to fucking shut the evil out again. It has every bit of like, oh look, stop.
Oh no!
Don't know what that was.
He chose poorly.
But I love that part of oh, hold on. I'm messing up. I love that part of the
yes.
nun because it has this sort of medieval beginning. This is where Valak came from, the demon Valak that is that nun that you see peeking over the top part of this poster. That has been a staple of the Conjuring franchise since I think Conjuring 2. And it may have even been called out in Conjuring 1. But from that point, this demon has been ever present. And we've always been teased it. And now we finally get to know its origins. and why it's there. And even in the Annabelle creations, that nun, she knew the convent members that are in this movie, which is a great tie-in too. She's, the father of the home, picked up this little picture of 3 nuns at this convent in the middle of nowhere. And he was like, oh, who are these people? And she's like, oh, that's my sister, blah, blah, blah. And it was all in this movie. It was just a really great little tie-in moment. But
Awesome.
I love the idea of a nun who devotes her life to this absurd religion and then gets corrupted, and then tomfoolery ensues. And I mean, that's a light way of saying murder.
Yeah.
But it's like a beach party. She was really great at I don't know, fucking potato sack race, but no, she actually like murdered
Twister,
nuns.
she was amazing at.
Yeah, you should have seen it. That habit. I love nuns so good. Okay,
But
so
Yeah, I agree. I love the tie-in of any kind of horror movie that you can tie into history. Is all right with me. I love history, and especially you get into the Knights Templar and the gold and whatever else. Though that's not necessarily in
the
this,
lineage
but
of Christ, this mythological Christ, and trying to figure out the evil that, again, the Christian mythology I love so much. This evil that corrupted him in his fucking absence. And I don't know. There's just something about it that I just love so much from a story standpoint. And maybe it's just because that's where Satan comes from, in the modern Christian vernacular.
But at least the Satan aspect, the evil aspect, and always makes for better movies. Yeah. I mean, you see whenever they try to make The Nun a Disney movie, perhaps, and it was all about her tithing away at a medieval castle and finding grace. That would be the boringest shit in the world. Yeah. And this adds the spice to it. It really brings the story into a place that at least makes it interesting.
Yeah. Well, another part of this is that what could be a better antagonist than that which you have no authority over, the supernatural element that is of evil itself. Like you are so helpless to it. And as a Satanist watching this, I more often than not, I'm always cheering for the bad guy anyway.
Yes.
But I just love the idea of this taking the form of what should be pure and godly and corrupting it and using it against the very people that are trying to, have this pretense of holiness. Like, yes, it's the underdog personified. I just love it so much. Like, you are such a hypocritical piece of shit. You deserve to be hung. Fucking die, none. Like, it is just so good. Oh.
Really brings a tear to the eye. It's amazing. It's amazing. No, I love it. I love. I mean, I wish I had more time in the day just to watch horror movies. I mean, that would be amazing. Seriously.
It's a strong one to have kids.
It really is. It really is. And the whole idea, you kept saying the medieval part. There's a memory I have. I can't remember which. One of the Exorcist movies, but it was at an archaeological dig, and then I just remember as a kid the clouds coming, and then all it was so evil, and it scared the shit out of me and made me happy at the same time. It was amazing.
We're gonna get into that. We're probably running long because we're not even halfway through here, people. So. If you can't hang, we understand. We're going to try our best. Wes, if you have to go before we're ready, just let me know.
As long as there's no toilets flushing, I think we're good.
All right, so our next one here on the Devil Train of Love. And yes, you were right, Master Tori, that was Rosemary's Baby. Is in fact Rosemary. I've spoken about this film so many different times in so many different ways in so many different shows. I love this so much.
So great.
Mia Farrow is just the best. Guy Woodhouse is such a douchebag.
Really?
Oh, she's so great. The fucking Castivets? Come on, Minnie is great. Ah, I love Minnie so much. I wish I was neighbors with Minnie.
Ah, she's magnificent.
This lullaby. Oh, I got a soundtrack. It's so
Are you
good.
aware that Bradford had rather an unpleasant reputation around the turn of the century?
Awful things happen in every apartment house. She seems so
Not
happy.
cannibalism.
She said wonderful things about you and your husband.
Oh, it's so great. I just rewatched this a couple days ago.
Sometimes
Was
I
it
think
yesterday?
I'm too friendly.
Time runs together. Anyway,
I have a pain.
the old couple, when I first saw them, when she comes into the apartment
Like that.
and is nosing around, I'm like, oh my God, that's my grandmother.
With the place. Oh, you put that over there. Ain't that interesting?
Yeah.
Minnie
Oh,
Cassavet
and you
is so
redid
great.
this, and
So good.
oh my, it totally my grandma. She had that same personality. I'm just like,
Oh, really?
she was crazy.
So good. Okay, so Rosemary's Baby is a story about a struggling actor and a young woman who want to have a baby but are not successful as of yet, moving into the Bramford building. Their best friend Hutch tells them that the Bramford building has a sordid history of witches who had certain rituals and stuff, and also cannibalism was involved, and this is supposed to be paused, so why is it continuing to move? And they were like, sort of like brushing him off, whatever. And they witnessed this death of this young girl that Mia Farrow's character saw in the laundry room. And then the Castavets, sort of turned their eye on the Woodhouse family, as it were. And ultimately, they give Woodhouse what he wants, and that's a successful acting career. And their price is for his wife to have the devil's baby and for them to keep the baby. And to Guy, that is a great trade-off. And so
He's like, wait a minute. I get sex. I get a great acting career. And I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to feed or change a baby. Win-win.
I didn't think of that side of it. But yeah, that is a
So I could see his side. I can see him being like, I don't see a problem here. You can go over and visit the baby on occasion, and we'll have others. It's fine.
Mike is saying that Rosemary's Baby has also been redone as a 2-part TV series. I did see that. I don't know. There's something about, again, just the era that this was filmed and the aesthetics of it that I connect with more than the TV series. And so I just, particularly like it a little bit more. And just the different actors and the tone and what Satan itself is in this film is very interesting. He is someone whom everyone wants to serve, not because they're afraid of being torn to pieces, not because he's going to murder you if you don't, but because he gives you gifts of power, longevity of life, vitality. Like he just gives you stuff, and all he asks in return is a little bit of naked, rape. Which, the context of a horror movie, doesn't seem like that tall of an ask.
No, and
Until I say it out loud.
And to think, who Roman Polanski and his sordid past, and there's a lot of creep factor to it when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
But it is, watching it was quite amazing. Just seeing all the things that were happening at the time that they tied in, like was it the Time magazine that has "Is God Dead" on the cover, and just reading some of the background of it, of how the I can't remember the writer's name, but the person who wrote the story actually was very familiar with LaVey's new work at the time of writing.
Ira 11. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, and so to see that and reading of some of the behind the scenes stuff, which was kind of parallel for Mia. She had just married Sinatra, right? And he told her, no, if you take this part, we're divorced. Mm-hmm. And she took the part, and I guess he served her papers in front of the cast and crews. It's amazing. But Yeah, it in this, of course, from the perspective of that the director, the filmmaker had in mind, of course, the devil was evil. But as you said, he's offering gifts, he's offering longevity, killer parties, a good place to live, obviously tons of money.
Yeah. Well, it's also like this idea of it turned the head on the idea of a coven of witches. So instead of like, these old wrinkly biddies naked in a forest looking for a goat to kiss the behind of, it was wealthy to-doers, like people of influence and authority in, posh downtown New York or whatever. And, they were individuals of substance and experience. Like it completely changed everything, of fashion, of life experience. John is saying, Hail Satan, fuck cancer. And let me show that really quick. Les Hernandez did a song, The Black Bramford, I believe, or something to that effect anyway, in one of his songs about the building itself. And yeah, like I loved it so much because it not only gave, it presented the devil in this, in my opinion, positive way, where he didn't, it wasn't like The Conjuring where he demanded something back, like, give me your baby, to murder. No, they wanted to raise the baby. They wanted to celebrate the birth of this baby.
Exactly.
If you want power, you have to denigrate yourself. No, these were people like of fashion and authority of their time, and they were willing to share that. Like that, as long as you could bring what talents you had to the table and they were of substance, they were willing to share that. I thought that was just such a wonderful way. And just, their own little quirks and everything that came along with it was just so wonderful. So I thought that was a great way to display Satan.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, just a little caveat of killing their friend, but I mean, I'm sure he was a dick anyway. So. First
of all, he was totally a dick. I heard he didn't pay any I don't know what I was going to say. I started down a trail that I didn't want to finish. Anyway, let's do the next one here.
Oh, yes.
What is the next one? Oh, this is a good one. You guys are going to like this. Well, maybe you won't. This was a bit of a controversial one.
In a forest coming to you.
In a world covered in trees. With Indians walking around
What went we out into this wilderness to find?
These people decided to leave.
Leaving our country, kindred, our fathers' houses.
They like to
for what?
Raise their head to the sky for no reason.
For the kingdom.
Look at these trees, woman.
Hold
my hand.
Gophers
Let us pray.
Attacked. Attack of the Gophers 3. They will bite your wood. A24 is killing it with horror movies, by the way. I have to put it out there. So this is The Witch. It got a little bit of fuss from Satanists because TST backed it after the COS refused to back it, the producer's request. But I'm a sucker for puritanical witchcraft, and this is it personified. I love this movie so goddamn much in every possible way. It had everything from music that reminded me of The Shining to a story that reminded me of the puritanical witchery horror that I grew to love from a child. And the imagery is dark, foreboding. It's just, I don't know, there's something that draws me to it. What did you think about this version of the devil, this Black Phillip?
I'm sorry, I lost you at the last sentence there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out on when the previews are playing.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you think about Black Phillip?
I thought it was a very interesting way to bring in a character in the form of a goat. And throughout watching the whole movie, I mean, the natural looks of the goat scared the shit out of me, thinking, oh shit, there's he ain't right. He's really messed up. But I the way they tied it together at the end, it was like she just continued to try to resist and try to resist, and finally gives in, and the goat. Yeah, I mean the talking goat always it kind of made me laugh when it started talking. I'm not going to lie to you.
First of all, that was not the goat talking. That was the devil, and that was probably, in my personal opinion, one of the best, outside of Devil's Advocate, the best lines that a devil could ever deliver, and that was just, good. Do you want to live deliciously? What the fuck does that mean? Yes, hell yes, I want and some. Like, give me that and more. Like, deliciously? Hell, what does that mean? I love that line so much. Such a wonderful fucking word to use. Delicious. You want to live deliciously. Fuck yes. Give it. I will fucking do anything. Come on, goat. I will eat your cheese. Goat cheese is nasty, but I will eat your cheese for that. Oh, dude, so good. So the story is that this family was cast out because they saw this Puritan village is, going against the word of God, and so they try to live outside of this safety of the village in the wilderness. And the truth is, there are witches in the woods, and their newborn child is stolen by one of these witches and literally ground the bones and blood into a poultice in order to allow her to fly. Like, this is some crazy stuff. So this is an old sort of like wrinkly old witch that once she uses this blood of this infant, she turns young and beautiful and seduces the son of this family in. But it has everything that every great horror film has, and that is, you're not sure who the bad guy is. There's a setup that is this twin, these twin children, but also they're saying it's Black Phillip, their family pet goat, and then there's this sort of twist that no, it's not the goat, it's not the children, it's actually the older sister, because she was trying to get the kids to stay in line and said that she was a witch and she was going to, do witchery things to them. And so you don't really know who to believe, and the family turns against each other, and this is big sort of unraveling storyline, and the father sort of loses his mind, and the mother's already lost her mind because she lost her child, and it's this frantic mind fuck of, who is really at fault here? Who is succumbing to Satan? Are any of them? Or is this all just Christian hysteria? And the truth is, no. He's here. And he's willing to give you what you want. Which was just so great. So the devil in this is literally the avatar of a goat. And he is just whispering sweet nothings into the children's ears and giving them little rhymes to sing, and promises, and luring his witches in to take their family members when, maybe you're doing a little peekaboo and you're not paying as much attention as possibly you should be, with such evil lurking about. But then ultimately seducing the daughter into becoming a witch under his control. Like, this was the ultimate in misdirection, sleight of hand, sort of devil play. Yes. Did you see this film?
I did. I thought it was. I thought it was really good. I mean, it had a top-notch creep factor with the children, and as I said before, the goat too. I mean, really, for some reason, the goat. I thought the goat is beautiful, but of course it really kind of freaked me out. But it was amazing, like the whole movie. And when I felt like she always in the back of her mind knew what she was. She always was a witch, and she was trying to live the way that her parents wanted her to live, to make them happy. And rather than do that, she fights, and eventually, look how cute that guy is. Right. He just wants to give you little nibbles. That's all. But yeah, I thought it was just amazing that she was really behind it the whole time. The movie never quite gets there saying that she was, or that she says that she was, but subconsciously I kind of felt like she was.
That's an interesting take on it. Yeah, I definitely I walked down the movie path of her not really understanding what was a what until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting to think that what if she knew that that's the real case and she was just sort of playing it until the end.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It could have been.
I loved that final scene though, of all the
Yes.
witches meeting around that fire.
Yes. That was amazing. I mean, when I hear the word witch, even when I was a child and I heard the word witch, that would be what I envisioned. A group of naked women in the woods around a fire, all kind of floating.
So good. Oh,
That's amazing.
where are you, witches? I need you now more than ever. I remember the movie Warlock. That was great, Magister. That was great. Okay, let's do the next one here. We've got only 3 more to go, so if you can hang tight, we appreciate it. What is this next one? Oh, this is probably my favorite.
For generations, the Thorns have been a family of tremendous wealth, position, and
For
power.
generations,
The
the
perfect marriage
Thorns.
of Ambassador Robert Thorn and his wife Catherine was fulfilled by the birth of their son, Damien.
It's a baby.
And then,
It ain't your
when
baby.
the child was 5 years old,
It's the devil's baby.
something terrible happened.
Oddly enough, I reacted the same way being taken to church every Sunday.
Clawing your mom.
Yeah.
Drive away.
I don't want to go.
Miss Baylock, he really doesn't want to go.
Was it
I
an
said get him dressed.
accident? Was it murder?
No, you should leave him here. Damn it, woman, you hurt me.
I am your master. Mr. Belvedere would have had him ready by now. It's all for you, Damien.
20th
All
century
for you.
Fox presents a film
I love
of
the Omen so
psychological
much.
suspense
Ah,
about an occurrence of
that's so
earthquake.
creepy.
Gregory Peck.
So in this
Oh,
particular
love it.
case, the devil was never shown. He was just suggested, and he was this ultimate force behind everything, which is what I love so much about it. They didn't even need to show him. They showed some of his servants in Mrs. Baylock and the Rottweilers,
Yeah.
and Damien himself as soon as he was not a baby anymore, like right there. But
Ooh.
like this was the. I wanted to be Damien. Like watching this, I was like, why can't I be fucking Damien? I want to be Damien. He was
Right.
given everything. I was like, all you had to do was be, transferred at this convent,
Who is he? What does he want?
and then you can have everything because this dude is an ambassador to
Can he be
the
stopped?
UK.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I had this one on today, and
Gregory
God,
Peck.
just hearing it in the background as I was working, it was so freaking creepy.
This is such a great scene there. Oh, and when the photographer sees the picture,
Right.
oh man, it's so good. These are
Ah.
so doggone good.
Yeah. But yeah, those, I mean, it shows you just how powerful the concept of the devil was. They didn't even have to show it, just suggesting it and seeing how people reacted either positively or negatively to the concept of the devil.
Right.
It just really frightened the crap out of everybody.
Well, and this idea, I mean, this is ultimately a trilogy. This is one of those others that I was talking about earlier that can be considered a franchise that I just like to latch on to the first one because I didn't think the other two were particularly great, even though I'm a huge Sam Neill fan. I just, it's that sort of Christian ideal again, that mythology that I love so much. I love the idea of an Antichrist. I love the idea of this infant child, this toddler who has the powers of hell behind him, and there is nothing anyone can do to stop him. Like it is fucking written in stone. This guy will rule the world, and you may want to stop him, but it's not happening. Like that is the power of Satan. He will fucking be known. I just love
Damn
that
right.
so much.
Yeah, he never missed out on ice cream. You know, be damned, you tell him no. You know, but no, it was such a great movie, and just the concept, and then you know I just love the 70s feel to these movies. You know, there's few filmmakers anymore that get close to the kind of feel you can get. I mean, we talked about The Conjuring, but also Rob Zombie and his films. You know, The Three from Hell, I think, is the new one coming out soon, and it was so great with that 70s feel, and then all his movies are just amazing. I felt like I loved all his Halloween remakes as well.
Truly in the minority on that one.
yeah.
Because I liked him too, but I don't think many other people liked him. No. Let's see. Mike is saying he loved the scene where Damien's riding his bike in the house and nearly kills his mom. Yeah, I mean, intentionally tried to kill his mom. I thought it was great. Master Torah is saying you like the original much better than the remake. I enjoyed the remake. The thing is if I like a story, I don't mind it being retold in different ways. And so for the Omen remake, I loved the actors that were in it. Mia Farrow as Mrs. Baylock. Oh, come on. She was great. Protector of Damien. She was amazing in that role. And I love the dad too. For the life of me right now, I can't remember his name. But he's a proper actor. Like, he's great.
Yeah.
I was going to say the mother's name, but I can't remember off the tip of my tongue. But I really do. Julia Stiles, I think it is. She was great too. So I don't know. I didn't mind the remake at all. If it's a story I like, I will watch it over and over and over again. And that's why I can watch, any remake of, from Nightmare on Elm Street to Friday the 13th to The Omen to whatever. I'll watch every remake because it's just another person's view,
Yeah.
And it's still the same story, which is good. Another person's view, which, take it for what it is, going to be good. Still your favorite anti-heroes or your favorite antagonists, good. Like, what can be bad? I don't know.
Exactly.
And then here's the worst part of it is when you're talking about remakes of films, you don't have to love the version of it, but the fact that it's still in the zeitgeist so much that it needs to be remade or people feel like it needs to be re-envisioned tells you that it's still a great story. Like, people are still talking about it. Like, and if it's something you love, how can that not be a net positive? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So The Omen, as far as the devil is concerned, he is literally the ultimate presence behind the entirety of the film. And so every death is orchestrated by him. Every political motivation for the narrative is orchestrated by him. He is the ultimate presence in this film. And I love that because they never showed him. He's just spoken of.
And it's everything that the devil in mythology should be. Is he's pulling the strings. Yeah. He's behind the scenes at all times, making things happen. Making others lose their mind while he reaps the benefits.
Yeah. And I always love the image of the devil as that sort of unseen force. I always get frustrated when I see the devil personified in like a sort of cartoony way. Yeah. Like, the reason why I showed Annabelle in Annabelle Creation and not the devil, which is, really the demon behind Annabelle, is because the devil really did look like a cheesy fucking like horn, like skinny, lithe little devil bouncing around, and that kind of bugged me. Like, I like the idea of not being. I think a monster is so much more terrifying when you can't completely see them. You just get glimpses,
exactly,
you get hints. Like in Rosemary's Babies, you only see the eyes, and and the hand clawing her beautifully nude top half of her body.
Yes.
Here, I got to take care of something real quick. That's what's so great about this stuff is you don't get to see everything. It's just sort of your imagination takes control. And your imagination is always more terrifying than reality. Always.
It totally is. And that's what, in my opinion, is missing from a lot of the horror films today is that they're too willing to show all the blood and the guts and the monsters as they were, but the unseen and leaving it to your imagination. I mean, your imagination will freak you out more than anything somebody else comes up with.
Yeah. All right, I lied. We actually have 3 more after this one.
Nice.
Should we get to them all, or should we just stop? We're getting kind of long here. Do you have time?
I can do it.
All right.
Let's keep going.
I feel like we should take a break because I need to refill my glass, but we'll just power through it. We can't end this without this next film.
No.
This is so... I watch this just periodically, but I always see it a couple times a year. I'm not actually seeing it on the screen here, are you?
I'm not either.
Somewhere
there we
between
go.
science and superstition,
I love this film.
there is
so
another
much.
world. The world of darkness.
The novel was a phenomenon. This film was a phenomenon. It completely created the possession genre.
Nobody believed it.
Oh.
And nothing.
And if it wasn't for that
could stop it.
fuck Jesus scene, I would allow my daughter to see this movie.
Yeah.
We watched it with her once, and as soon as that scene came on, it was like a Super Bowl Sunday, man. I just tackled a blanket over her. It's like, don't look! Don't listen! Don't turn it down! Turn the movie down! Like, freaking out. This is too adult! Oh my gosh! But the rest of it is so great!
This one's great.
Psychological terror.
Creepy.
And in this particular case, the devil is literally in you. And like, how do you fight with that? Like, I don't know. Like that is the greatest.
The only
You are at its mercy, and nothing, not even these priests, can help you. Oh, I love
Exactly.
The Exorcist so much. All right, so let's talk about the demon presence in The Exorcist. If I can get to the screen here. So the premise of this, of course, is this young woman is playing with a Ouija board. She invites this Mr. Howdy presence into her home. It ends up possessing her. The mother is distraught, but she's a realist, so she takes her to a bunch of doctors. They can't find anything wrong with her, even though they do an insane amount of tests. She's driven. God damn it. Why is this still moving? And it was actually the devil Pazuzu that possessed her, which is sort of discovered in an archaeological dig by this old priest who dealt with exorcisms in third world countries before. But that's what I love so much about this, is that it wasn't just like, this idea of, Satan, he's always ever present in the world. No, this is an ancient evil. This is something that is like pre-Christian, ancient Arabian evil that is ever present. This isn't just like you go to Sunday school and they're like, no, the devil wants you to do bad things. No. This is ancient evil. You got nothing on this shit. No one can save you from this. It has destroyed people before, and it will continue to destroy people because all it cares about is sort of collecting souls almost. And I just love that, because these priests were supposed to be sort of badasses in their communities, and they were murdered, straight up murdered by this devil. And what this devil did to that girl, and how we perceived its slow possession of her, was so intimately terrifying and yet fascinating. You couldn't even look away when she was spinning her fucking head around, puking at you. You still couldn't look away.
It's truly one of the most terrifying movies. But yet, as you said, it's one of the most fascinating to watch. And seeing the the priests who are so self-confident in everything and meeting something they have no idea. I mean, it's in a way, it's very satisfying. See? It's like, you put your little cross away.
Yeah.
Gonna need more than that.
It's funny because I always err on the side of children as sort of like championing them. So I'm like, oh, Reagan, like, I don't want you to be hurt. This sucks. This is terrible. But I love the interaction of possessed Reagan with these priests. Like her just seriously fucking with them.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're just like, what do we do? Ah. This should be working. Why isn't it working? Oh, it's just so amazing. Good. Yeah, and so the devil in this, I loved it because it was an ancient evil. It sort of went beyond the traditional Satan trope of, you know, people sacrificing themselves or something that they love for some other power. Instead, this was just a straight up possession. This was, I'm here to do the devil's work, and I will do the devil's work. You know, there's nothing anyone can do about it. You know, you grow up in this sort of Judeo-Christian society, and you're always told that, you know, God has authority over the devil. God will always prevail over the devil. No. Quite literally, God's got nothing on this dude. Pazuzu is the man. Like, there is nothing that he can do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's so great about it. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be the most holy man, or you could just be a regular dude or a regular girl who's just fucking around with a stupid Warner Brothers or, I don't know, Hasbro Ouija board, Parker Brothers, whoever the fuck makes it. I think it is Parker Brothers. But you're totally at the mercy of this. You have no choice. And I love that part of the devil. Like, he is all powerful, all present, ancient, and wise. Like, he's, I don't know, that's the greatest.
Well, and he plays dirty. You know, he does whatever he has to do to win. And who in real life, who doesn't do that? Who doesn't take every advantage you can get away with or anything? I mean, it's amazing. Oh, but we're going to pray hard. We're going to get it done. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to get it done this time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I always have like a shoe knife whenever I play soccer.
Well, yeah, I mean,
stab people in the shins with my shoe knife. They never see it coming.
I mean, if you don't play the Ty Cobb version of baseball, then you're just doing it wrong.
Oh, man. All right, so we got two more here, people. Hang in tight. I know we're long. Just two more. I had to include this one. This is my personal choice because I loved this version of the devil so goddamn much.
Can you keep a secret?
And again, this plays into my loving Christian mythology.
Secret ever.
This is some apocrypha type
Centuries
Christian
ago,
mythology.
a second coming was foretold.
There was a second war in heaven.
What did he say?
After Lucifer took a third of the host of heaven with him in his fall. And he tried to overthrow heaven.
But what's coming?
And this second war is over humans. And Gabriel, played by Christopher Walken brilliantly, is seeking the most vile, wicked soul on mankind in order to use him to take control of heaven because he feels ostracized by God. So humans are sort of at the mercy of this war between angels. And then Lucifer comes into play in probably the best way you could ever imagine, played brilliantly by Viggo Mortensen, one of my favorite actors in the world. Just such a handsome man. But he comes into play as Lucifer, who is not involved directly in the war, but he's pissed that the war is happening because if there's a war in heaven and Gabriel takes control of heaven, that means there's going to be two hells, and two hells is one hell too many, especially if you're the devil. Like, I have hell. I earned that hell. I'll be damned if I let you make another. Like, I just love that so much. Did you see this film?
I haven't. I was surprised when I read it. I haven't seen this one. No, and it really bothered me. I was like, "What? Wait a minute! It's my guy. You don't want to mess with my guy."
Christopher Walken, Viggo Mortensen, was so good. And it's just, you know, the idea of angels warring with each other because they haven't heard the voice of God in a while. It's such a human thing. Like, I haven't heard from my girlfriend in so long. Fuck everyone. Life's, it's like the Cure song or something. It's just like
Right.
fucking depression. And I just loved that so much. And the fact that there could be a second war, in this sort of mythology of angels and hell and stuff, I just thought was so great. Yeah, I think he was one of the best Lucifers. And there's this wonderful scene at the very end when they defeat Gabriel. And Lucifer is standing alone in the midst of these Native Americans and the heroes of the film. And he's looking around and he has blood all over his face because he just feasted on Gabriel's heart. And he's like, come with me. Come with me. I love you. I love you more than Jesus. And that line that Lucifer is trying to convince them of, I love you more than Jesus. In the context of the film, it's his sort of pathetic attempt at, last ditch effort of trying to drag their soul to hell with him.
Sure.
But there's a beauty in the visual aesthetic of it that draws me in every single time I watch it. It is so wonderful. And to see him when he first introduces himself to the cast, he's just sort of perched like a bird on this rock, and he plucks this rose, and he takes slowly as he's talking, just as sort of like an aside, taking the petals off this rose, and then just sort of eats the heart of the rose, the bud of the rose. It is so powerful and brilliant. And he has this like hell creature next to him, this sort of servant of his. It is such a great scene. This is the greatest version of a Satan you can ever imagine. He has an avatar who looks good, who is well-spoken, who has intention, and who doesn't necessarily care for humanity in any particular way, except that he doesn't want someone else taking what is his. And that is hell. I earned this motherfucking place. I will be damned if I let another angel take it or duplicate it somewhere else because of their insecurities. That is so great. This is my house. You will respect my motherfucking house. Oh, come on. So good.
That's awesome.
Oh, you've got to see this film, damn it. We got to watch this together. Ugh. I'll just be like nudging the whole time. Look, dude. And you'd be like, fucking stop touching me. So good. But that's the best part of this Satan, is that you get to meet him. Yeah. And you get to understand his mind a little bit. And it's not involved in your bullshit. He has his own bullshit to deal with. And you get to realize that for the first time ever. This isn't this omnipresent force of evil that is just, out there trying to corrupt you. No. He has his own shit to deal with, and he's here to deal with it. And that you've never seen that before. It's always like this, I want to make a deal with you, or I want to corrupt you, or, whatever. It's never like, no, I got my own shit. Fuck off. Like, I'm going to use you to do my shit. Like, you need to help me so that we can stop this other bullshit because I need my shit. Awesome. This is a very eloquent way of me saying it, I know, but great show. Okay, so the last one here. Yeah, this is the last one. One of you already called this out early in our broadcast, and we can't end without showing this one. Wait for it.
May I take a look?
All my own rare editions have the same protagonist, the devil. Only the supreme masterpiece was missing.
The Nine Gates of the Kingdom of Shadows. A book reputed to have been written by Satan himself.
I want you to go to
Have you seen this one?
I want you to get it for me.
I have, yeah. It's been a while.
Reputed to conjure up the Prince of Darkness in person.
Seems like there was a stream of these type movies in the late 90s.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into, Mr.
Possession.
Get out before it's too late.
I'm afraid it already is.
Or maybe it's just Johnny Depp movies.
The Ninth Gate.
You got Roman Polanski coming back, bringing the devil back.
And fear neither ghost nor fire.
Oh, I love this so much.
There have been men who have been burned alive for just a glimpse of what you are about to witness.
Okay, so what I love about this film, well, let's give a quick sort of rundown. I have to repause this real quick. So the Ninth Gate is about a book collector who is asked to research the validity of a book and compare it to other known volumes of the same book, the Ninth Gate, the Kingdom of Shadows. Because ultimately this book is supposed to be able to summon the devil, and the owner is not able to summon the devil. And so he goes around this European tour, essentially, of comparing these different books, finding out which ones actually have similarities and dissimilarities. And throughout the entire film, he's continuously encountering this strange vagabond-looking female as he's being harassed by the individuals that have actually sent him upon this comparison tour. And ultimately, it ends with this group trying to summon the devil in a very sort of Eyes Wide Shut manner at the very end, in like a cheap Eyes Wide Shut manner. And then the devil revealing herself to Johnny Depp's character, fucking him literally as the whore of Babylon, and providing him with the final key in order to unlock the 9 gates and live this sort of immortal existence, which he then ultimately does. I love this because it sort of turned the coin here. Instead of a boy being Satan or a demon or something, it's this female, and sort of this cultured, powerful individual of authority. It is a vagabond, sort of wanderer type, that's just sort of in the background. It's the machinations of humans trying to unlock the secrets of hell, and all the while, hell is choosing who they want to unlock the secrets. It has nothing to do with humans' desire. It has to do with hell's desire and the devil's willingness, the whore of Babylon's willingness to reveal herself. And that was an interesting take, I thought, because, again, we always like to think of... I did this... Okay, so let me paraphrase this. We always like to think of this idea like the devil or Satan always wants souls to collect. So he'll take whatever soul is willing to give themselves up. And I always thought, as a Satanist, that doesn't make sense at all. We are very discerning in our tastes. And so I even wrote a song, I Don't Want Your Soul, about the devil being discerning and not wanting everyone's soul, only wanting the best souls. And that's exactly what this film did. It's her choosing, the devil choosing, the whore of Babylon choosing which people she wants to give power to. Because she doesn't just want any piece of shit. She wants the cream of the crop. She wants the best of the best. And I think that's a metaphor that Satanists should take to heart.
Yes.
Simply because you identify with Satanism, simply because you like the aesthetics of Satanism, does not mean you're worthy or that you are a Satanist. You have to live the life of a Satanism, and that's real world accomplishment, championing the individual, celebrating this carnal existence that we have with this really wonderful Addams Family aesthetic that we all connect with. That is Satanism. Not just like fucking throwing horns up or wearing a pentagram or saying fuck Jesus. That's not Satanism at all. And if you expect the devil to embrace you, if your version of the devil embraces every fucking middle school fucking goth flunky, well, your devil fucking sucks. I want a devil that has taste, that has like concern for the quality of souls he's collecting. And that's what this movie said to me.
I agree. I mean, it's what can you do? What can you bring? And I just love the idea of the devil as a female.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a powerful, sexy idea, and she, brings that character to life. It is quite amazing, and it is what all the witches I've had the pleasure to know, that was what made them so powerful, is that they could be sexy and dominating and just commanding all at once. And this character captures that for me. It is so great.
I had to watch it a
I'll have to
couple times
rewatch it.
before I was willing to accept the devil as this vagabond girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a conversation with a number of different individuals about this, where they don't see her as a vagabond at all. She was just, in comfortable clothes traveling and stuff. But because I'm so used to the idea of this sort of aristocratic cultural devil, like I got trapped into that frame for so long that it was very uncomfortable for me to try to break out of that. But in the same way, going back to the beginning of this, the Al Pacino's version of the devil in The Devil's Advocate never let him see it coming, as you mentioned early on.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way. Why would you have a fucking cane and a top hat when you could just look like the average person on the street? No one will suspect you. And that's what this film did brilliantly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, is there anything else you wanted to say in closing about the devil in horror movies, or some of your favorite moments or least favorite or anything?
Really, all these movies we've touched on, I mean, they're great. And there's others that we didn't have time to touch on that had always touched me. And I mean, the one thing that I think was that, oh my goodness, in the 90s, another one of those streams with End of Days was when the priest, the devil embodies the priest, and he comes out and into the middle of a restaurant and pulls out this really hot chick's boob. And I mean, just the balls. I mean, after that, I was just like, wow, that's okay.
You can do that? I'm damn.
Really? Going to Hot Topic right now?
Yeah. I need a Satan patch right now, please. I want to touch a boob. Oh, I love that.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I love that movie just because that was the first Guns N' Roses song we got from like 6 years. Like a gap of 6 years of them creating music, which was so wonderful. But I did enjoy the show as well. And there's a whole bunch, as you mentioned, that we didn't actually get a chance to talk about. So maybe we'll have to do a second version of this because, again, there are so many wonderful devil-centric horror films out there specifically. But there's also novels, there's different genres from dramas to comedies that feature the devil, as we've mentioned already. That's why I wanted to do a whole new framing of a type of show, The Devil's in the Details, because there's so much to talk about in our cultural media dealing with the devil that we can't just leave it to a single episode. We have to do multiple types of shows with that premise of exploring the devil in these different media. So would you be willing to come back and talk about it in another format?
Anytime. I mean, if you want to change the format up to where we're pole dancing or something, I'd be down. I'd have to work on my balance, but we can make that happen.
Yeah. I'm not sure I know how to snap my pussy. Or
ow!
I can figure it out, but.
Yeah, you got this.
Pop that pussy. That's the.
Just practice.
Pop it. Pop that pussy.
Pop it and lock it.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. We're stopping there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. That was a weird end. In the live chat room, I really do appreciate it. You can always support the show by subscribing to the YouTube channel. And let me give a quick note on subscribing to the YouTube channel. I have analytics that tell me that over 30% of all the people that watch these videos have not subscribed to this channel. What the fuck are you doing? Just subscribe. What's your problem? You're watching it. Hit that button. Hit the subscribe button. Doesn't hurt you. Helps me. Helps everyone else find the show. Do a solid. Hook a brother up. The devil wants you to do it. He told me. She told me while she was fucking me in front of a broken ass building on fire because you wanted you to subscribe, so do it. Of course, if you want to know what we're going to be talking about next, who I'm going to be speaking to, check out the email list that is in a link at the description below. And if you like the program, if you like the show, if you like this sort of format, give me a rating or review. Again, that link is also in the description of the video just below that you're watching right now. So thank you all so much for joining live. Wes, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great talking to you again.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be talking to you tomorrow. And for the rest of you folks, until we can speak of the devil again, hail Satan.
Hail Satan.